Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw Godzilla. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the head. To draw the circle, first make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having trouble drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a cup, a lid, or anything else with a circular edge. Inside the head circle, draw a curved horizontal line. This is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features. Draw this line higher than the center of the circle. On the top left side, draw a curved vertical line for another construction guide. Draw two small circles as guides for the eyes. Place the eyes on top of the horizontal construction guide and on either side of the vertical guide. The eyes should be small in relation to the head. Draw another curved horizontal line across the circle as a guide for the muzzle. Below the circle on the left side, draw a short horizontal line for the first part of the lower jaw. Connect this line to the circle using longer lines to finish the guide for the lower jaw. Extend the line on the left so that it's inside the circle. Starting on top of the head, draw a line that curves to the right for the top part of the neck. Draw a short sloping line under the head for the bottom of the neck. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Use the small circle on the right that's inside the head as a guide to draw the first eye. Lightly sketch a line on top of the eye for the lower edge of the brow. Darken the circle but make the sides pointier for the corners of the eye. Darken the line for the brow. Draw the eye on the left the same way. Draw a short sloping line on top of the eye for the lower edge of the brow. Darken the basic path of the circle but make the sides pointier for the corners of the eye. Draw a sloping line below the eye on the right. Draw a series of short angled lines above the eye on the left for the top edge of the brow. Draw short angled lines above the eye on the right too. These lines will create the spiky top edges of the brow. Leave the insides of the eyes blank for a glowing look. Use the lines below the eyes as guides to draw the top part of the muzzle. Darken the basic paths of the guides to create the shape of the muzzle. Make the lines wavier than the initial guides. On the top left side, draw a short angled line for the exterior edge of the nostril. To the right, draw the other nostril using another short angled line. Draw a shorter curved line for the nostril's opening. Draw a few short lines under the nostril to emphasize the shape of the muzzle. Draw an angled line on the left side for the other side of the muzzle. Draw a series of short triangular shapes along the horizontal line for the teeth. Draw the teeth different sizes, but the overall shapes shouldn't be that big. Extend the teeth far to the right of the jaw. Use the angled line at the bottom as a guide to draw the lower jaw. Darken the basic path of the guide and add a few angled lines to create a spiky texture. Follow the edge of the circle as you draw the side of the jaw. Draw short angled lines to create spikes on the jaw. Draw a long sloping line inside the shape for the lower edge of the open mouth. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the line when you get the shape right. Connect this line to the top jaw. Draw a series of short triangular shapes along the lower edge of the mouth for more teeth. Draw a few teeth along the left edge of the initial guide too. Draw a couple of short vertical lines on the right side for the skin between the jaws. Draw a couple more vertical lines on the left side to close off the shape of the jaw. Curve these lines along the path of the guide. Inside the mouth, draw a long wavy shape for the tongue. Make the tip of the tongue pointy. Draw a couple more lines to finish the shape of the tongue. Use the initial circle as a guide to draw the shape of the head. Draw a couple of short angled lines along the guides for the spiky texture on the head. Don't make these spikes too big. Add more spikes along the path of the brow. These lines should be similar to small triangles. Draw a couple of longer angled lines on the right side for bigger spikes. Darken the left edge of the initial circle using angled lines to complete the shape of the head. Now add the big spikes along the neck using long angled lines. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the lines when you get the shapes right. The base of each spike should be wide. The tips of the spikes should be thin and pointy. Make the spikes taller the farther to the right they are. Draw multiple pointy tips on the spikes. The shape of each spike should be thin. Darken the initial guide using an angled line for the bases of the spikes. Draw smaller angled lines across the neck for shorter spikes. Curve the path of the spikes along the curvature of the neck. Farther down, draw longer angled lines for bigger spikes. Draw another row of smaller spikes slightly higher up. These spikes should be similar to the number 7. Now add a few smaller spikes at the bottom too. Below the head, draw a couple of angled lines for the scales on the neck. Draw these lines along the path of the guide. Draw another row of sloping lines farther to the right. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long. You don't have to erase all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now shade your drawing. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder for darker values. Leave a few thin sections blank across the head to create highlights. Use a darker value to create shadows across the head. Shadows will give the head more dimension and volume. Use a dark value to shade the area around the eyes. Shade the inside of the mouth using a dark value too. Slowly and gradually use a darker value across the head. Darken the final lines to emphasize the shapes. Don't shade too smoothly. A rough value will create more texture on the skin. Shading can be time consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Keep shading until you're happy with the result. And that's it for Godzilla. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com, where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.